Welcome to The Legal Code, the YouTube channel dedicated to answering your legal questions. If it's your first time here, my name is Mariam Greenidge and I'm a licensed New York attorney. I specialize in helping small businesses, entrepreneurs build their business and protect whatever creative content that they may have. If you like the information in this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe. And if you have any legal topics you would like me to discuss in future videos, you could just drop that in the comment section. I will be more than happy to do a video about a topic that you're interested in. And to those who have been commenting and liking and subscribing, I so appreciate it. I'm so humbled and I feel so supported as I endeavor on this YouTube platform. All I know is that I want to provide information that is useful and helpful to all of you and that you enjoy the information. And I actually have been enjoying the process as well. I look forward to setting up my camera every afternoon to provide content to all of you. So I'm so grateful for the support and I thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that being said, one of my subscribers left a comment in my comment section and asked me to do a video as how to pick an attorney that you can trust. So ultimately, how to pick an attorney as a small business, how to know that you could trust this attorney. And I really struggled with this question. I thought about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I said, how am I going to answer this question honestly? I thought about it and I said, I became the attorney that I was looking for. When I say that, I mean I have worked with attorneys for several years. I've been in the legal field and I realize most attorneys have lost their humanity and they don't care about the clients. But I wanted to package myself as an attorney, as an entrepreneur, as a person who's compassionate, who cares about their clients, who provides hands-on legal services that are affordable. And so I became that person because I realized there was such a shortage of that type of an attorney in the legal field. And so that's one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel, is to provide useful information that can help you as small businesses get to the next level, whatever that may be. And that it's affordable, because at this point, we could all Google legal information, but I wanted it to be affordable, digestible, and concise so that you could take it and it can help you build, or that you could take this information and provide it to someone else who will find it useful. I also realized that the relationship with attorneys are transactional as well as transformative. Transactional in the sense that, yes, you as the client provide money to the attorney and the attorney provides services, but transformative in the way that attorneys provide counsel, advice, and they have the ability to transform the lives of the small business owner or the client that they're serving. So to not respect the dynamic relationship of an attorney and client relationship does a disservice to the legal field. And so that's why I endeavored on this path to become an entrepreneur, to help small businesses, because I wanted to be able to deliver the services that I think are important. And again, that's why I started this YouTube channel. So with that, I also have some insights as to how you can pick an attorney that you can jive with. So that's what the topic of this video is. How can you pick an attorney that you can jive with, that understands you, that understands your business, as well as what are the next steps once you have selected an attorney, what to look out for, what should you expect, what are the formalities. So my first insight is tap into your network. Your network is your #1 resource for finding an attorney. That network can extend back to college. If you're a recent grad, that may be a little more challenging, but for those of you who are a little more seasoned, you could reach out to old college buddies and ask them, hey, do you know anybody who went to law school that is an attorney and that can help me? Whatever the legal service that you needed. They likely know 1 or 2 people who went to law school. If they don't know anyone directly who went to law school, they know someone indirectly who went to law school, and that person is a good way to, that's a good referral that you can tap into. Also, if you have any friends that are small business owners, if they have a small business, they've likely run into a few threshold issues with starting their small business that required legal expertise. A lot of small business owners are savvy and they can navigate this business world without any legal advice, and I take my hat off to them. But many, and there's nothing wrong with that, many need counsel in their corner. And so if they have a small business, they've likely worked with an attorney. So ask them their experience working with this attorney. Would they recommend that attorney? And that's another good way to find an attorney, because they've already vetted the attorney, they've worked with them. And if they say yes, that they can recommend this attorney, that's a foolproof way, that's proof positive that's a good way for you to begin working with this attorney, and that this attorney would be a good fit for you. The next thing I would do if I were looking for an attorney is tap into social media. I think social media is the best kept secret for finding honest, transparent attorneys. I don't know why I think this is more of an intuitive thing. It may be because of the nature of social media that requires a level of transparency, because the attorneys I see on social media really doing wonderful things to help small businesses, to help entrepreneurs. So that would be my next that would be my next resource to tap into. Scroll social media, use hashtags, legal advice, legal questions. A lot of attorneys are using these hashtags to communicate with entrepreneurs and their audience to attract foot traffic. So that's just some insight. That's something I use when I'm posting on social media to attract traffic. So you can find an attorney that way. Also, YouTube is a good way to find attorneys. If you just have legal questions and there's an attorney that you follow, it doesn't have to be me per se, but there's an attorney that you follow. A lot of them have services that may be of interest to you as a small business owner. So you could reach out to them and say, hey, I'm interested in your services. Can we talk? And that's a good segue into what would be next. I would advise, after you find an attorney, you narrow down your attorney, that you set up a consultation with that attorney. And the consultation is just a simple meeting where the attorney may troubleshoot your legal question and see if he or she can provide services to you. This does not create an attorney-client relationship. It's just to troubleshoot to see if you two would work together. You would likely have to pay a consultation fee. The consult fee is dependent upon where you live. So if you live in big states like California, New York, Florida, the consultation fee will be upwards, I would say $150, $160 and up for about 45 minutes to an hour of talking with that attorney. And as a small business owner, I think it's worth it to budget and pay for consultations to see if this is an attorney that you want to work with. I say it's less painful to part with that money in the beginning, where there's no attorney-client relationship, than in the middle when you're working with an attorney who's not responsive, who is evasive and has taken your money and has not delivered any of the services that he or she has promised to provide. So pay for that consultation, get an idea of that type of that attorney, what their communication patterns are like, because that's the number one question and that's the number one issue clients have with attorney, is that the lack of communication, that clients follow up with attorneys and attorneys don't communicate. So that's a good way up front to figure out, does this attorney communicate? And you could just be blunt and ask that attorney, hey, what's your level of communication with a client? How often should I expect to hear from you? And then you get an idea if this is an attorney that you want to work with in the future. And so once you set up a few consultations, you've narrowed down whether or not you want to work with one or two attorneys. The next step would be, once you narrow down to the one attorney, the next step would be an engagement letter or a letter of representation. And the letter of representation just narrows down the scope of representation and says, I, attorney, represent you, Sally, for example, in this matter and only in this matter. So that's to say, if it's a divorce matter that you've hired this attorney, that attorney is not going to represent you in your estate planning or your small business areas. It's just going to represent you in this narrow scope. And that's what the engagement letter sets out. It also sets out the fees and retainer and whatever paperwork that you may have to give that attorney in order for that attorney to begin working on your case. And I say case loosely. Case may seem like a litigious or a word that means conflict, but no, it could be. That's how we attorneys refer to any legal issues, cases, or matters, even though it may just be a plain transactional situation. So yes, so the letter of representation narrows that down, the scope of representation, the fees, and also goes over any confidentiality issues. Attorneys are prohibited from expressing anything confidential that is by a client. And attorneys take this very seriously because an attorney can be disbarred from breaching any confidentiality with a client. So you don't have to really worry about that. The letter of representation also goes over the duration of the representation, whether or not this representation will last 6 weeks, 6 months, or several years. The letter of representation likely highlights that, and it may or may not be that accurate because sometimes things tend to go a little bit longer than anticipated. Like with COVID, whenever I was dealing with the client, something that typically took 8 weeks prior to COVID is probably now taking 12 to 16 weeks. But now that we are up and running a little more now, things are being moved along a lot quicker. But in the middle of COVID, things were taking a long time to be processed. If anything had to be recorded with counties. So also, I just want you to keep that in mind whenever you're dealing with an attorney. The duration may be longer than you anticipate, so just prepare for that. And so once the engagement letter is signed by you, you pay the retainer, which is the fee that you pay the attorney for the attorney to begin working on your matter or your case. And then the attorney will begin collecting any paperwork or research that he or she has to gather in order to begin working on your matter. And so that is a glimpse into what the attorney-client relationship looks like. And that's my insight as to how to pick an attorney that you can trust, that can be transparent and a resource for you. And if I were looking for an attorney, I would tap into my network. I would reach out to social media or anyone I know that has a small business to ask them for a referral. And so I hope this information has been helpful. Please leave a comment section in the comment section if you have any more questions regarding this topic. Like I said, I'm more than happy to answer that. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe. And thank you again. Thank you, and have a good evening.